This conference will now be recorded.
So we continue the yesterday class, knee joint, part 2. So usually we are following these headings of the knee joint. So yesterday we completed up to which level? Up to
Ligaments.
ligaments. Yesterday we completed up to ligaments. So synovial membrane onwards we learned today. Okay. So you can see this picture. So in this picture we can see the synovial membrane. Okay. And this is another picture. This picture also we can see the synovial membrane. Usually it lines the joint capsule. So largest joint space in the body. So already I told you synovial joint is the knee joint is the largest joint in the body. So in another picture we can see it clearly, synovial membrane. So in this picture whatever you see violet color membrane. So this one is the synovial membrane, violet color. Usually synovial membrane present inside the capsule and attached to the margins of the capsule. Here we can see this is the big largest synovial membrane and it secretes the synovial fluid. But in case of the knee joint, here you see the synovial membrane. Okay, synovial membrane is enclosing the. Here you see the synovial membrane is enclosing the in the middle cruciate ligaments, anterior and posterior cruciate ligament. So if you see the cruciate ligament, these are intracapsular but extra synovial outside the synovial membrane but inside the capsule. So regarding the knee joint, we can say two structures like this. Number one, cruciate ligaments, and number two, popliteus muscle. So this popliteus muscle we can compare with the biceps brachii of the shoulder joint. So here also popliteus muscle, like the cruciate ligaments, intracapsular, extra synovial. So these ligaments are present outside the synovial cavity. Is it clear? So this is about the simply about the synovial membrane. And next we come to the bursae associated with the knee joint. Bursae associated with the knee joint, number 7. So bursae associated with the anterior aspect of the knee joint in the patellar region. This region, you see, first one suprapatellar bursa, deep to the tendon of the quadriceps femoris muscle. Second, prepatellar bursa, so in front of the patella bone, prepatellar bursa. Third, superficial infrapatellar bursa, in front of the ligamentum patella. Third, deep infrapatellar bursa, deep to the ligamentum patella. So these are the 4 important bursae anteriorly related to knee joint. Because what is the bursa? What is the bursa? Do you know what is the bursa? Bursa is nothing but this is nothing but extension of synovial membrane with the cavity. So this is the nothing but extension of the synovial membrane with the cavity, that is called bursa. Okay. So in case of knee joint, this is the largest joint. So largest synovial cavity, obviously we can find the very big bursae. Especially anteriorly, we can see the 4 bursae. These bursae are clinically also very important in clinical anatomy. We see the importance of this bursae. So name the 4 bursae of the knee joint. What is the first one? Anteriorly?
Suprapatellar.
Suprapatellar bursa. Where it is present? Deep to which muscle tendon?
Quadriceps femoris.
Quadriceps femoris muscle tendon. Very good. And next, in front of the patella, what is this bursa?
Prepatellar bursa.
Prepatellar bursa. So next, another 2 bursae present are related to the ligamentum patella. One is superficial, another one is deep. So these are called superficial infrapatellar bursa, deep infrapatellar bursa. Okay. So these are the main bursae associated with the knee joint. Now one more bursa is associated with the knee joint, that is the pes anserina. Pes anserine. This is a very important question, 3 marks question. So in this picture we can see with the arrow I'm showing the here one bursa. This is the pes anserine. So this bursa is present deep to the 3 muscles. These 3 muscles are called gyro muscles usually. What are the 3 muscles? Gracil, sartorius, semitendinosus, and gracilis. These are the 3 muscles. So deep to these 3 muscles, one more bursa. There is a pes anserine. This is the 3 marks question. Okay. So these are the bursae associated with the knee joint. Now we come to the 8th one, that is the relations of the knee joint. If you see this picture, we can see in this picture relations of the knee joint. So relations are very simple. Anteriorly, knee joint is related to tendon of quadriceps femoris, patella, and infrapatellar ligament or ligamentum patellae. So only 3 anteriorly: tendon of quadriceps femoris, patella, and ligamentum patellae. So these are the anterior relations. Posteriorly, it is related to oblique popliteal vessels. Here you see oblique popliteal vessels and tibial nerve, oblique popliteal vessels, tibial nerve, and also origin of gastrocnemius muscle, 2 heads of the gastrocnemius muscle. So these are the posterior relations. And medially it is related to sartorius, gracilis, semimembranosus, and semitendinosus. Medially it is related to these muscles: sartorius, gracilis, semimembranosus, semitendinosus. And laterally it is related to tendon of biceps femoris. Tendon of biceps femoris. So these are the relations of the knee joint. So anteriorly, what are the relations? Can you name the relations? Anterior relations?
Tendon of quadriceps femoris.
Then which
Ligamentum
bone?
patellae.
Then patella.
Ligamentum
That is the bone.
patellae.
Posteriorly, what are the relations? What are the vessels present here posteriorly?
Popliteal vessels.
Popliteal vessels. And which nerve?
Tibial
nerve. And what is this muscle? Gastrocnemius muscle.
Gastrocnemius.
Medially, what are the relations? Sartorius,
Gracilis,
semimembranosus. In the previously in the bursae, I told you sartorius, gracilis, semitendinous, deep to these 3, one bursa is present. What is that bursa? Pes anserine. Very good. And what are the lateral relations? Only one muscle tendon.
Biceps
femoris. Okay, that's enough. So these are the relations of the knee joint. So next we see the movements of the knee joint. Movements, especially we are going to learn about the locking and unlocking of the knee joint. This is the very important unlocking movements of the knee joint. Short notes question, 5 marks question. So usually these are the movements we can see at the knee joint. You know it. So extension, flexion, and some rotations medially and laterally, not fully rotations. So limited medial and lateral rotations, extension, and flexion. These are the movements of the knee joint. Now we come to the what is the locking action of the knee joint. So knee extended by quadriceps femoris muscle until ACL. ACL means which ligament?
Anterior cruciate ligament.
Anterior cruciate ligament taut. Okay, top. Then femur medially rotates on tibia. This rotation is passive due to shape of the articular surfaces. This is another point. So in locking method, medial rotation of the femur that you have to identify. In locking method, you can see medial rotation of the femur on the tibia. That is the second. And number 3, anterior cruciate collateral ligaments. Collateral means tibial collateral ligament and fibular collateral ligament and oblique popliteal ligament. They become taut, and this screw home mechanism set to lock the knee joint. Okay, so these three set to lock the knee joint. First, knee is extended by quadriceps femoris muscle tendon. Next step, femur rotates medially on the tibia. Second step. And number 3, these 4 ligaments, anterior cruciate and 2 collateral ligaments and also oblique popliteal ligament become taut, and this mechanism is called locking of knee joint. And in this position, the knee joint is slightly hyperextended and all 4 ligaments are taut. These are the 4 ligaments. And the most important one, anterior cruciate ligament, it prevents the hyperextension and other prevents the additional rotation. So the main ligament in this locking method, that is the anterior cruciate ligament. So this method is called, and this mechanism is called locking of knee joint. So usually we can say this one, this is the standing posture. We can see the locking of knee joint. In locking of knee joint in standing method, so weight is transmitting through the condyles of the tibia and femur. Tibia and femur. So what are the steps in the locking of the knee joint? First step. What is the first step? Extension of the knee joint. Next, second step, medial rotation of femur. Medial rotation of femur. In another step, and which ligaments become taut? Anterior cruciate, 2 collateral ligament and oblique popliteal ligament. Very good. And hyperextension of the knee joint is prevented by which ligament?
Anterior cruciate.
So this mechanism is called locking of knee joint. And next one, unlocking of knee joint. So this method or this mechanism is initiated by the action of popliteus muscle. That's why popliteus muscle, the main action, it unlocks the knee joint. That is the main action of the popliteus muscle. This is a very, very important 5 marks question from the knee joint regarding the muscles. It is very, very important 5 marks question in the upper limb. So which muscle unlocks the knee joint? What is the main muscle?
Popliteus.
What is this muscle? Popliteus muscle. How it unlocks the knee joint? You see, popliteus muscle contracts to unlock the knee joint by lateral rotation of femur. In the locking method, femur rotates medially. In the unlocking method, femur rotates laterally. That is the difference. So the lateral rotation of the femur, this movement is initiated by the action of popliteus muscle. Is the action of popliteus muscle, and this is called unlocking mechanism of the knee joint. So this unlocked knee can be flexed by the hamstring muscles. Can be flexed by the hamstring muscles. Okay. So these are the 2 locking and unlocking mechanisms of the knee joint. Okay. So in locking method, simple, femur rotates medially, and the long axis of the femur is coincide with the long axis of the tibia. In that way, weight is transmitting. Okay. In this locking method, these 4 ligaments become taut. In unlocking method, okay, knee joint in unlocking method, knee joint, that means femur rotates laterally. This action is initiated by the popliteus muscle. Okay, this unlocked knee joint, okay, can be flexed by the hamstring muscle. So this is the locking and unlocking methods of the knee joint. Now we come to the other movements of the knee joint. So flexion of the knee joint. So flexion of the knee joint is is produced by the main muscles, that is the hamstring muscles. So hamstring muscles, name the hamstring muscles. Name the hamstring muscles. These are the flexors of the knee joint.
Sartorius, popliteus,
Sartorius.
gastrocnemius.
That is wrong. Semimembranosus, semitendinosus, then adductor magnus, biceps femoris. These are the only 4 muscles. What are the 4 muscles? Semimembranosus, semitendinosus, adductor magnus, and biceps femoris. So in this picture, you see these are the muscles of the back of the thigh, and these muscles are called hamstring muscles. So hamstring muscles are the flexors of knee joint, and is also assisted by other muscles here. Now we come to the extensors of knee joint. So that is the main muscle, that is the extensor of the knee joint. What is this muscle?
Quadriceps femoris.
Quadriceps femoris. So quadriceps femoris is formed by 4 front muscles of the thigh. What are the 4 front muscles of the thigh? Rectus femoris, vastus medialis, vastus lateralis, and
Vastus
intermedialis.
intermedialis.
Vastus intermedius. Okay. So 3 vasti muscles and rectus femoris. These 4, they have the common tendon, that is called conjoint tendon, that is the tendon of the quadriceps femoris. So this quadriceps femoris is the chief extensor of the knee joint. Okay. Now medial rotation of the knee joint is produced by the popliteus, semimembranosus, semitendinosus. So these are the muscles medially related to the knee joint except popliteus. And lateral rotation by the biceps femoris. This muscle is laterally related to the knee joint. So the muscles anteriorly related to the knee joint, those are the extensors. The muscles posteriorly related knee joint, those are the flexors. Muscles medially related to the knee joint, those are the medial rotators. Muscles laterally related to the knee joint, those are the lateral rotators. So based on the relations, we can coincide the movements of the knee joint also. Okay. Now we completed up to the movements of the knee joint. So locking and unlocking. And next we come to the another one, blood supply of the knee joint. So you are aware of the blood supply of the knee joint. So what is the arterial supply of the knee joint? You see this picture and you can tell what is the arterial supply of the knee joint.
Popliteal anastomosis.
Popliteal anastomosis.
Very good. Popliteal anastomosis or genicular anastomosis. Okay. So genicular anastomosis, popliteal anastomosis. So already I told you in the beginning, this knee joint is the largest joint in the body. So obviously, number of arteries, blood vessels are supplying to more number of blood vessels are supplying to knee joint, unlike the other joints. If you see the other joints, so only limited and small arteries are supplying to the joint. But in case of the knee joint, we can see the predominant arteries and big arteries, and also number of arteries we can see, because this knee joint is made up of the more number of the ligaments. Already I told you there are the 10 ligaments of the knee joints. So we see this number we can compare with the other joints. In other joints we cannot find these many ligaments, and also we can see the big and very strong and tough ligaments at the knee joint. So all the ligaments of the knee joint and all the structures of the knee joint, including the membrane and capsule, these all are supplied by the genicular anastomosis. So if you see the genicular anastomosis, This is another 5 marks question. Already, I think already we have seen the genicular anastomosis in the previous classes. So simply, I name the just formation of the genicular anastomosis here. So here you see the arteries. So lateral circumflex femoral artery, direct branches from the femoral artery, and popliteal artery and its two branches, anterior tibial and posterior tibial arteries. So from these branches, we can see the genicular arteries. There are 5 genicular arteries. One is the medial superior genicular artery. Second one, medial inferior genicular artery. Third one, lateral superior genicular artery. Fourth one, lateral inferior genicular artery. And fifth one that we can see at the posterior part of the knee joint, that is the middle genicular artery. That one is the middle genicular artery. So there are totally 5 genicular arteries, 2 medial and 2 lateral and 1 middle. These 5 genicular arteries, they form anastomosis around the knee joint, deep to the ligaments of the knee joint, extrinsic ligaments of the knee joint, extracapsular ligaments of knee joint, and outside the capsule of the knee joint. So we can see these genicular arteries. So these are supplying to knee joint and its structures. So in this picture also we can see the genicular arteries outside the synovial membrane and capsule of the knee joint and deep to the extracapsular ligaments of the knee joint. So we completed the knee joint up to the blood supply, and now we come to the 11th one. What is the 11th one?
Nerve supply.
Nerve supply. So already I told you this is the big branch. This is the big or large synovial joint. Obviously, number of nerves are supplying to this knee joint. So those nerves are number 1, 3 genicular branches from the tibial nerve, and 2 genicular branches from the common peroneal nerve, and a recurrent genicular branch from the common peroneal nerve, and posterior division of obturator nerve, and nerve 2 vasti from the femoral nerve. You see, this is the synovial joint. Okay, is supplied by the number of nerves. So branches from tibial nerve, common peroneal nerve, obturator nerve, and femoral nerve. Almost we can say these are the nerves of the lower limb. So nerves of the anterior, nerves of the 3 compartments of thigh, and nerves of the 3 compartments of the leg. So almost these all nerves are supplying to the knee joint. You can see here. So 3 genicular from the tibial nerve, 2 genicular branches from the common peroneal nerve, and a recurrent genicular branch from common peroneal nerve, and posterior division of obturator nerve, and nerve 2 vasti from the femoral nerve. So this is the nerve supply of the knee joint. And next we come to the last one, that is the applied anatomy. This is the last one of the knee joint. So before we go to the applied anatomy, just briefly I revise the entire knee joint from the introduction. Quick review. So you know the introduction of the knee joint. This is the compound, complex, and largest joint in the body. So compound, complex, and largest joint. You remember these three. And type. This is the condylar synovial joint, modified hinge joint. And articular surfaces 3. Okay, and 2 condyles of femur, medial and lateral condyles of femur, and 2 condyles of the tibia. So articular surfaces, I'm telling that 2 condyles of femur above, and 2 condyles of femur tibia, 2 condyles of tibia below, and in front patella. So these three are the articular surfaces of the knee joint. Next to capsule of the knee joint. So this capsule is attached to the margins of the knee joint. That means margins of articular surfaces of the knee joint. Capsule is attached to margins of articular surfaces of the knee joint. And this capsule is strengthened by iliotibial tract, patella retinaculum, iliotibial tract and patella retinaculum. This is strengthened by, and it has the depth sets anteriorly. So depth set along the quadriceps femoris muscle tendon, patella and patellar ligament. So along these three structures, we can see the depth sets of the capsule of knee joint anteriorly. Posteriorly, where popliteus muscle is piercing the capsule, that is the another depth set posteriorly. So I'm talking about the capsule. Then this joint is mainly supported by the ligaments and also menisci with the large articular surface areas. And the most important one, next one, ligaments of the knee joint. There are two types of ligaments: extracapsular ligaments and intercapsular ligaments. And extracapsular ligaments, tibial collateral ligament, fibular collateral ligament, ligamentum patellae, oblique popliteal ligament, arcuate ligament. And intracapsular ligaments are anterior cruciate ligament, posterior cruciate ligament, coronary ligament, transverse meniscal ligament, and also meniscofemoral ligament. So in the previous class, we have studied in detail about all the ligaments. So we have seen all the ligaments. So some of the ligaments are the morphologically modifications of some muscles. For example, tibial collateral ligament is a morphological remnant of adductor magnus muscle. Fibular collateral ligament is the morphological remnant of peroneus longus muscle. Ligamentum patellae is the morphological remnant of tendon of quadriceps femoris. And oblique popliteal ligament, this is the extension of one of the extension of the semimembranosus muscle. Okay, so these are the modifications. And also in the intercapsular ligament, cruciate ligaments are very, very important, because these cruciate ligaments are present at the middle of the knee joint, but outside the synovial membrane. So inside the capsule, but outside the synovial membrane. These are the very, very important ligaments. Okay, so in this picture we can see all the 5 extracapsular ligaments. Now this is the ligamentum patellae, and this is the medial and lateral collateral ligaments. We are studying in detail medial and lateral collateral ligaments. And there are 2 cruciate ligament, anterior and posterior cruciate ligament. So these are the cut part of the 2 cruciate ligaments. So in the anterior cruciate ligament, we have seen the attachments. Already I told you 2 cruciate ligaments. Okay, anteriorly attached to in front is attached to intercondylar area of the tibia, and posteriorly these are attached to condyles of femur. That means intercondylar area of tibia and the condyles of the femur. So anterior cruciate ligament is attached to lateral condyle of femur, and posterior cruciate ligament is attached to medial condyle of femur. So you observe these 2 differences. And anterior cruciate ligament, it prevents the posterior displacement of the knee joint, and posterior cruciate ligament prevents the anterior displacement of the knee joint. So these are the other ligaments. These are the other ligaments of the knee joint. And also we have seen the menisci. So these are the functions of the menisci. These are the fibrocartilaginous rings, semilunar in shape, deepen the tibial plateau, and for the better lubrication, shock absorbing, okay, increase the mobility, and act as a sensory organ. So mainly 4 functions: depends the articular surfaces, lubrication, shock absorbers, and the sensory organ. These are the functions of the menisci. And the lateral meniscus, smaller, circular in shape. Medial meniscus, larger and similar in shape. And these are the presenting parts. And now here we can see the comparison between the medial and lateral menisci. So in this comparison, main differences: lateral meniscus more mobile, medial meniscus immobile and more prone to injury. And lateral meniscus is attached to fibers of the popliteus muscle. These are the differences. So, and here onwards we have seen the today. Okay, that is the synovial membrane lines the joint capsule. Okay, in this picture we can see the violet one, synovial membrane, and also covering the cruciate ligaments. So cruciate ligaments are present outside the synovial membrane. And next we come to the bursae related to the knee joint. So anteriorly 3 bursae are related to the knee joint, very very important: suprapatellar, prepatellar, superficial infrapatellar, deep infrapatellar, related to the quadriceps femoris muscle tendon and ligamentum patellae and patella. Okay, and pes anserine. So this is the bursa is present deep to the these 3 muscles: sartorius, gracilis and semitendinosus muscle. These are the bursae related to the knee joint. So next we know the relations of the knee joint: anterior, posterior, medial and lateral. These are the relations of knee joint. And next we come to the movements of the knee joint. So there are 4 movements: extension, flexion and limited medial and lateral rotations. So in the knee joint, apart these things, one more action is there. That is the locking and unlocking mechanism of the knee joint. So if you see the locking mechanism of the knee joint, first knee is extended by the quadriceps femoris muscle tendon. Then femur rotates medially. Then these ligaments become taut: anterior cruciate, lateral ligament, oblique popliteal ligament. So this is about the locking of the knee joint. In unlocking of the knee joint, this action is initiated by the popliteus muscle. That's why popliteus muscle is called unlocker of the knee joint. So here in unlocking of the knee joint, because of popliteus muscle, femur rotates laterally, and this can be flexed by the hamstring muscles. So flexion of the knee joint by the hamstring muscles, extension of the knee joint by the quadriceps femoris muscle, and these are the medial rotators of the knee joint, and these are the lateral rotators of the knee joint. Okay, next we come to the blood supply. So knee joint mainly arterial supply by the genicular anastomosis by the 5 genicular arteries. So 2 medial genicular arteries and 2 lateral genicular arteries and 1 middle genicular arteries. So these are the branches of these arteries. Okay, they form the arterial anastomosis around the knee joint, and they supply the structures of the knee joint, mainly ligaments. Okay, and now we come to the nerve supply of the knee joint. So these are the nerves are supplying to knee joint. So branches from tibial nerve, common peroneal nerve, obturator nerve, femoral nerve are supplying to knee joint. So this is about the knee joint. So with this knowledge, now we are going to learn the applied anatomy of the knee joint. So are you listening?
Yes,
Are you
sir.
listening?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Now we come to the last part of the knee joint, that is applied anatomy. So this is the simple, we can complete within 5 minutes. So disease of knee joint, that is called osteoarthritis. Deformities of the knee joint: genu valgus and genu varus, and bursitis and inflammation of the bursae of the knee joint, that is called housemaid's knee. Okay, Clearingman's knee, and buccal cyst. So this is about the applied anatomy of knee joint. Mainly, you know the osteoarthritis and deformities, genu valgus and genu varus, and bursitis, inflammation of the bursae, housemaid's knee, okay, glaring man's knee, and Bucker's cyst. And injury to the ligaments of the knee joint, so anterior cruciate ligament, posterior cruciate ligament, and meniscal tear, and unhappy triad and collateral ligaments. Simply we can say injury to the ligaments of knee joint. So this is the applied anatomy of the knee joint. So we see the one by one in detail. First one is the osteoarthritis. What is the meaning of osteoarthritis?
Degeneration of articular surfaces.
Very good. So degeneration or erosion. So degeneration of articular surfaces of the joint and also hyaline cartilage. So articular surfaces means hyaline cartilage only. So articular surfaces are covered by and formed by the hyaline cartilages usually. So degeneration of the articular surfaces of the joint, that is called osteoarthritis. You can see here in this picture osteoarthritis of the articular surfaces of the knee joint. So this is the most common in the knee joint. So what are the symptoms? So there is a tremendous pain, and joints are become stiff, unable to fold or movement. There is no movement. So pain with the stiffness of the joint. These are the main symptoms of the osteoarthritis. Next to deformities. Okay, structural deformities. Okay. So in the first picture, we can see the normal alignment of the knee joint. In the second picture, you see there is an angle lateral side. So this one is the genu varum. Then another deformity is there is a medial angle here. We can see this is the genu valgum. So these are the structural deformities of the knee joint. So genu varum lateral angle and genu valgum medial angle. We can see the two pictures. So usually we can find in some persons, and these structural deformities you can see. And now we come to the housemaid's knee. That means inflammation of the bursae of the knee joint. In the next picture we can see this is the second one, housemaid's, and this one is the first one. This is the Gleringman's knee. Okay, so these two come under the bursitis. Bursitis means inflammation of the bursae of the knee joint. Here you see the if prepatellar bursitis. If you see the prepatellar bursitis, that condition is called housemaid's knee. So if you inflammation of the superficial infrapatellar bursitis, that condition is called Gleringman's knee. So one is the housemaid's knee. This is the 3 marks question. Housemaid's knee means inflammation of the prepatellar bursa of the knee joint. That is called housemaid's knee. So in this picture we can see the housemaid's knee condition. So in this picture we can see in front of the infrapatellar in front of the ligamentum patellae, below the patella, this swelling you can see here. This one is called Gleringman's knee due to inflammation of superficial infrapatellar bursa. Okay, so this is the bursitis. Now in this picture we can see in this picture medial lateral rotation and also medial rotation. Okay, medial and lateral rotation. If you observe the pain at during the medial and lateral rotation, that indicates the effect of the ligaments of knee joints. And another picture we can see the popliteal cyst at the posterior part of the knee joint. Extending into popliteal fossa. So this one is called popliteal cyst. So this is the extension of the synovial membrane with the cavity. Now another one, unhappy triad. That means here 3 C's. That means 3 C's are involved. Collateral ligaments, medial and lateral, tibial or fibular collateral ligaments, and medial lemniscus, medial meniscus, and cruciate ligament. So which cruciate ligament? Anterior cruciate ligament. You see in this picture, anterior cruciate ligament, medial meniscus, and medial collateral ligament. If these three structures are involved, that condition is called, these three structures are ruptured or tear, that condition is called unhappy triad. So this is due to this condition. You see here in this picture, you can say over flexion, okay, with the weight bearing. In these conditions, usually in this situation, usually these three structures are tear, and this condition is called unhappy triads. So in unhappy triads, which structures are involved? Anterior cruciate ligament, tibial collateral ligament, and medial meniscus. So this is another one. So tearing of the ligaments of the knee joint, especially collateral ligaments, you can see in this picture. So this is the knee joint. So in the applied anatomy, the main important one, osteoarthritis and genu varum and genu valgum, mainly housemaid knee. This is the short notes question. Okay, due to involvement of the cruciate ligaments here and popliteal cyst, and with the unhappy triads, in unhappy triads we can see the involvement of the three structures. These three structures are medial anterior cruciate ligament, tibial collateral ligament, and medial meniscus. So this is about the knee joint. So do you have any doubts?
No, sir.
No, sir.
Are you there? Are you listening?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Sir.